Reunited and it feels so good. I need this book. Hi there, it's me, Lottie. And today, what we're going to do is talk about a book that I'm not really ready to talk about yet. I'm only going to share part of the story because I don't even know the rest of the story yet. Anyway, a long time ago, I mean literally a long time ago, like 20 years ago, I don't know. I used to teach at a community center that had English as a second language classes and GED classes for the Spanish speaking community that lived in the area. And one of the things I had taken with me on one day as a teaching tool was one of my books of poetry. And this particular book was written by Pablo Neruda. And it was the first book I ever had of his poetry. And I absolutely loved this book. I haven't even read all of the poems in it, but I really loved his sonnets and odes to, like, I think they're called odes to elemental things, like regular things, like a tomato. Or one of my favorites is Ode to the Artichoke. What happened was I ended up leaving that book at that community center when I left. It was in my desk and I forgot about it and I left it there. And of course I, eventually forgot about it. But just last year, a few months ago, a good friend and I were out for the day. I think it was on Record Store Day. There's a day called Record Store Day. I'm almost positive there is a Record Store Day. Anyway, we were out on Record Store Day and we were at the record store and it was like, a store that had, of course, vintage things, vinyl, records. So they also had a few little miscellaneous bookshelves tucked here and there, and what did I find on that bookshelf? I found my book. I wonder, it'd be funny if it was actually my book. But no, it looks like it may have been Jeff Gray's book, which there's a phone number in here too. Anyway, so I bought this book and now it is back in my possession and I'm looking forward to getting to know it all over again. One of the things that has been on my resolution list for probably the last, I don't know, here we go with the decade-long resolutions, right, is to practice my Spanish. If you have been watching my channel for a while, if you saw the 50 by 50 challenge videos, which I started almost 3 years ago now, my Spanish was on those, on that list as well. And I've done stuff with it. I haven't, I'm not fluent and I still haven't done as much. But, hey, I'm getting closer and closer and closer, doing a little bit more and a little bit more. And so this is yet an opportunity because it is bilingual. It's written in Spanish and English. So, reacquainting myself with what was one of my favorite books. Like I said, I didn't even read it all. I just read a few of the poems and was just smitten. So, just a little bit about Pablo Neruda. Do any of you, are you familiar with Pablo Neruda? Is he one of your favorites? Do you have thoughts about his works? I would love to know because I really think I need to get to know him better. he and I have to get to know one another. So, let's see here. Pablo Neruda is one of the most widely read and loved poets of the 20th century. In Spanish-speaking countries, Neruda's poetry is known by heart and repeated by peasants and intellectuals, and has become part of both high and folk culture. For all its depth and brilliance, it is profoundly popular and accessible in a way that English language poetry has not been since Walt Whitman. This particular book focuses on some of the first poems from his book of Elemental Odes, which was published when he was 50 years old, and goes through to a book called Full Powers when he was 58, which was 11 years before his death. It says, "These are the poems of a happy man, deeply fulfilled in his sexuality, at home in the world, in love with life and its infinite particular forms, overflowing with the joy of language. They are large-hearted, generous poems, resonant with a humor that is rare in poetry. We enter them with delight and leave them with exhilaration." And I would have to say that that is so true. Like, I don't know who else could write a poem about an artichoke and have me just like, oh my God, this is the best poem. It's just the best sonnet I've ever heard about the artichoke. So anyway, like I said, it's a bilingual edition. So that'll give me a chance to practice my Spanish and hopefully, no, let me just get accountable here. And I will select a poem at a future date, and I will read it in Spanish as well as English here on the channel. But I just had to share the backstory because this is going to be one of the books that I'm going to take with me into 2020 and again reacquaint myself. I think a lot of what is going on with 2020 does have to do in some parts, at least for me, with reintroducing myself, reflecting, reconnecting, reevaluating, reimagining some things, you know. So, I mean, because you get all reflective, like, look, let me look over the last decade and see what I did and did not do. So that would be appropriate because, like I said, I think, I mean, it's been longer than that since I actually taught and used this book as, you know, something for the students to write essays from and about. But, you know, like I said, it's a good time to revisit things. So I am looking forward to getting back into this book. And again, do you also like Pablo Neruda? If so, what is your favorite poem? What should I read next? I mean, like I said, this is going to take me a while because I like to savor poetry as it is, and I like to savor his poetry in particular. So the next time we talk, I will share maybe Ode to the Artichoke, or you could look it up. So I just wanted to share that with you. That's really not a book review video, but it's more of a maybe an inspiration or a spark or me just being excited about something and deciding to come and share it with you. So anyway, I hope you're having a good day or night whenever it is you're watching this video, and I will see you at the next one. And until then, take care. Yay. Reunited and it feels so good. Reunited 'cause we understood.